Hey, what's up, Buck fans? Good evening. Thank you for tuning in on the Bucks Report, the Aftermath on 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio. We're gonna break down a lot of things. We're gonna talk about this new rule, the effects on the game. Of course, we're gonna talk about free agency for the Bucks still, and how we're slowly inching close to the draft. Look, it's already damn near April, guys. So time is flying. So that means the Bucks got to stand on business. Jason Light and Bowles, they got to get the right players to make this year special now that all the good people that we needed to come are back. So let's get ready, y'all. Damn, y'all. 50 years almost, Bucks. That's incredible. Again, shout out to the Buccaneer fan base, the best fan base we got out there. What's up, guys? Again, I appreciate y'all coming in tonight on Bucks Report, the Aftermath on 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio. It's one of your hosts, AJ Turnup. We got Coach Slick, aka the British guy who's fly. He's on standby right now. But let's just backtrack. So far, let's just rehash everything that has happened that has gone well for the Bucks and free agency so far. We signed back Mike Evans. We've signed back Baker Mayfield. We signed back Levante David. Those three were the big three for us. That was the big three that us Bucks fans needed to make sure that we got back to keep this thing going. And then adding Jordan Whitehead back into the Tampa Bay Buck family where he always belonged. That's great too. And then we picked up a few more pieces in the cornerback and then in the line. And then Carlton Davis going off where he makes his little side comments. But we're not worried about that, are we, Buck fans? We are just happy that we got the important pieces back. The hardest was Evans. We've gotten over that hump. Now it's really time to just settle in for the draft. And speaking of draft, if you guys would like to, please check out the Bucks Report on my feedback that I have for the Bucks mock draft. Now, it's not the best. I can be quite honest with you guys. It was okay. I think I did okay. I think I did a decent job. And shout out to Christopher Cole. Good evening. Thank you, Chris, for always showing support. And I thank everybody out there who is watching the Bucks Report, the Aftermath. We appreciate you guys. And remember, feel free to always chime in. Spread the word. People, we are not just a fan of the Buccaneers. We are a fan of the game of football. We love to talk about football. That's just what we like to do, no matter who the player is. And I'm sure, because shout out to JT Olsen, he's going to want to talk also about my thoughts on Aaron Donald being one of the best defensive players. Now, the more research that I've done and more conclusive evidence shows, Aaron Donald to me is in maybe top 20, but not top 10. I got to put him out of that. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. If you follow my mock draft, my article, check it out on Bucks Report. This is like the top people that I said that the Bucks should get. So I said for round one, if we can, I still do believe that the Bucks need to get the beef up and get stronger in the trenches, and we need to get an elite pass rush. So I thought in the first round we could get Tavondre Sweat, DT from Texas, 6'4", 366. He got the Outland Trophy. So that was one of my picks. And then I also said in the second round, I said we could get Javon Foster from Missouri. It's just something about the Midwest linemen that I just think that fits with this team. I think, Tristan Wirfs, I know that's probably a once in a generation type of player, but I always thought that Midwest guys Midwest linemen were the best. So I'm going to have to go look at a stat on that, but that's just my opinion. Then I also thought as well in round 3 that we should get Cedric Johnson, the edge from Mississippi. Anybody from the SEC that I think is always going to succeed or at least get better, because in my opinion, SEC is the junior NFL. If you can make it there and you can make a name for yourself there, hopefully it can transcend to the NFL, because you're damn near there already. And another in round 3, I said we can get Ray Davis from Kentucky, because I say the simple fact that our offensive coordinator Liam would be able to work with him since he has that experience. But again, guys, those are my first couple picks that I just wanted to mention. Please go and check out the article on Bucs Report. It's just AJ Turnup's Buccaneers 3-round mock draft. So I appreciate if you guys take a look into that. And I agree, Cohen, keeping players locked in the film room. That will be something that I really do hope, Chris, that Liam will do. He shouldn't have a problem. That's why I wanted to get certain players from Kentucky that will, have that experience with them, that'll be able to carry on. It'll keep the younger players hungry, especially the ones that we draft. So that is like my first few picks. But I stand by what I said, because people say you don't think we should get a lineman in the first round. We never, typically most linemen never. It's very rare to have, unless it's a generational offensive lineman to go in the first round. Now Tristan Wirfs, again, that's an anomaly, but for the most part, your best linemen come in the second, third, fourth round. Hell, look at it like this: our boy who retired, shit, he was a 6th-round pick. And yes, this is the Bucko Cup of Destruction. And so that is what I think, in my opinion. That is how I think that we should draft, especially in the trenches, the first round. Again, like I kept saying, getting Jordan Whitehead back to me is such a significant thing. I say that because it takes the pressure of us having to get a higher pick in the round for a safety. We can focus on other things. Again, I do think we need another running back. I wouldn't mind getting a running back in the 3rd round, someone who could be a north and south runner who can complement Rachaad White. That's number one priority. We need a running back to complement Rachaad, so Rachaad White does not actually get beat down, because Rachaad White is the running back that you want later on down in the season. I say, like after week 11, you want him to be fresh and you want him to be healthy, especially going into the playoffs, because he is a dual threat. And you want the other guy to be able to at least take the load and share, so then his body can get more acclimated to the NFL. So I do think that we do need to go and get at least a running back between the first 4 rounds. Now, I'd say between the 3rd and the 5th, to be honest. We got that extra pick. Now, if they use that extra pick to get a solid corner, I won't be mad at that. Carlton Davis, we've already know what he has said, but again, he's good when he's on the field. But the problem is he's not healthy enough anymore. So I believe in what Jason Light is going to do. I truly think that they're going to find a way to make things happen. That's just my opinion. I believe in him. He hasn't let me down so far. Every time when I'm worried, this is basically what Jason Light tells me. And that hasn't let me down. Has he had bad moments of picks? Yes, but for the most part, the man got you Evans, Brady, Wirfs, Antoine Winfield. He got us some stars. We got Yaya, who looks like he's on the come up. Cansey. Those are to be determined, but shit, that's not a bad resume so far. And Christopher Cole says that's the report from Bowles, who has to give players bathroom breaks. Hey, look, man, I think this year they're going to have more fun. To be quite honest, I have to see how the draft goes. But if they can get at least 2 to 3 starters in in this year's draft, that is going to make a big jump for this Bucs team. Because I tell you what, with the right draft picks this year, this Bucs team can be very dangerous. Now, I know people think in the NFC is still wide open. Of course, San Fran, but they still have a quarterback situation. Detroit, you don't know. Let's see. Let's see if they're going to have the same success when everybody is starting to know them and people are going to actually pay attention. And the biggest thing that everyone in the NFL does, adjust. So that is what I want to see what Detroit's going to do. Dallas, we already know what to expect from them. And I know people are talking about the Eagles and Devin White. I'm not impressed. When it comes to Devin White, not impressed at all. We already know what to expect from him. Let's see. I'm not really that worried about that. So, and again, when Coach Slicks gets on here, we're going to talk about the rule of the NFL and how it's going to affect the game. I mean, I have a lot to say about it, but I'm going to wait for Slick to get on, and he's going to get on for 1 sec. So let me check and make sure. But yes, when it comes to this rule, I'll just say before Coach Slick gets on, I'm not pleased with it. I don't like the certain directions the game is going, and I hope someone can come out there, like especially some of the players, can just make a big statement and explain why. And it's just so many things that I will say when Slick gets on here, but I'm not really happy about it. But anyway, let's get back again to the Bucs and let's get back to Buck business. The Bucs still, in my opinion, of course, we already know they need a lineman, another lineman. We know this already. So I am very curious. I would like for any of you Buck fans out there to please, and I mean please, if you can, send us your mock drafts on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. You can send them to me at AJ Turnup on Instagram. And I want to know what you guys give me your first 3 draft picks because I would love to see what you guys would think about that. So yeah, and give me 1 moment. We're gonna stand by. I'm gonna show y'all a quick little video, and we'll be right back, guys. 1 moment, because we just got to show a motivation video, as always.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes to the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today.
You know what? No, damn that. This is just because I don't like them. This is for Saints fans.
Hey, this is Rick from Bucs Live. I wanted to take a minute. I wanted to talk to Saints fans, and I wanted to just sort of touch base. I know you guys are rivals, and I know you guys look at the Falcons as rivals. I don't know, whatever. But I wanted to talk to Saints fans just for a second, and I wanted to talk to you from my heart. There's one thing I've always said is that the Saints and the Buccaneers have one thing that they can sort of relate to. The Buccaneers have had a lot of really bad years. A lot of really, really bad years. And I know the Saints went through some very bad years for a long time as well. And I wanted to sort of take just a moment to tell Saints fans, I look at what your salary cap is, and I know now there's talk of Marshawn Lattimore being traded or whatever, being off the team, one way or the other. I wanted to just sort of tell you from my heart, you guys are going to suck bad for a while. Your cap hell, your whole team getting old, you're going to suck bad for a while, like kind of a long time. And I wanted you to know that I know what it feels like. You're gonna feel it for a long time, and um, just embrace the suck. Understand it. It's time to embrace the horror. It's time to understand. Welcome, welcome to the suck.
That's right. Welcome to the suck. And I had to bring that up. The reason why I say that is because it's still a lot of Saints fans talking shit about the Bucs. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. Y'all say we're not a rivalry. Well, of course, Cam Jordan always says that bullshit, but you obviously are. And of course, you have some of the experts out there still doubting your Bucs, saying the Falcons because Kirk Cousins is here. Guys, we don't know what Kirk Cousins is going to be when he gets here. The Bucs still have the best team. Why? We have the best receiver in the division. We got the best defensive tackle in the division in Vita Vea. We have the best safety in the division, who's arguably the best safety, was the best safety last year. Which I hope when they come out with this damn top 100 players, that if Antoine Winfield is not at least in the top 20, that's when you know this list is some bullshit. If Mike Evans is not at least in the 30s or 40s, it's bullshit. Let's see who else. If Tristan Wirfs is in the 50s, that's some bullshit. Yeah, like seriously. So these players need to get some respect. Y'all got to give them some respect. Baker should at least be in the 70s. Put Baker in the 70s. I ain't say, look, yeah, you see, I'm not trying to be biased. 70s, he would, if he were at like 78, 70, 77 or something, that would be fine. Baker should at least be on the board because he had a hell of a season. A lot of players on this Bucs squad came up strong. And there he is, guys. I told you I'm waiting for him. Coach Slick in the house. How you doing, Slick?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just sitting back, enjoying the ride, seeing what free agency holds out for us. Heard about this Welsh kid that was been huge in Welsh rugby for quite a while, so it's kind of cool to see him. He's been signed by supposedly been signed by the Chiefs. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. And I think British media's gone a little bit bonkers because he is quite a talented player, but doesn't really mean anything in the NFL. We've had talented rugby players try the NFL and they've lived on practice squads for a few years. So
hey, he's gonna get practice squad money. So shout out to Welsh. Good job, man. Look, cheers to you for getting the American bag, and good luck out there. I wish you well for the season, but if the Super Bowl comes and you play the Bucs, I hope you shit the bed. I hope,
absolutely. Hey, I think this kid's smart for the sheer fact. One thing and one reason only. Even if he sits on a fucking bench, he's sitting on the bench and probably getting a Super Bowl ring.
Exactly. Well,
that's a smart move. Get paid minimum money, probably play with one of the better QBs in the league, and just sit and develop. And if you're ready, when you're ready, you might not even have to go and play football this year. They usually don't. A lot of the international guys, they usually have that year to develop. What a lot of people don't realize is when you take an international player, if you put them on your practice squad, they're an additional spot. It's not like they take up a normal practice squad spot. So let's say your practice squad's 12, you're allowed a 13th man. The only rule is if you take an international player and put them on your practice squad, they are not allowed to see active roster for the entire season. That's the addition of allowing them to be the extra spot.
Right. Well, that's all right. Again, he sits back, collect checks, keep your money frugal. You're going to be all right, my man. So, Welsh, good luck to you. I hope you do. Again, if you don't play the Bucs, I give no fucks. So that's just how I am. You know what I mean? And and when it comes to this, to the free agency, now we know Chase Young is going to the Saints. The man just had surgery, but I think he got like $13 million or something.
It sounded pretty crazy when I didn't read. I think you probably didn't realize either. When I was reading the story about what was medically wrong with him, I was like, I can see why no one really bothered. It's a bit like, that is a bit of a risk, and then $13 million is a good chunk of money for 1 year. So it's a good payday. He hasn't been that great, in all fairness. I think it's the potential that people see in him and go, you know what, that could be, if we can unlock it, we got ourselves that guy.
I just didn't know he was going to. My man got surgery right after he signed that contract. He literally just said, okay, yeah, by the way, I need to get checked out. So that, and I hope not, because I would love to see him play. But what if it comes out that this man is going to have to miss like 6 to 8 games? Like, that would be such a damn shame for the Saints.
Maybe that's why they signed them for that kind of money, because 13 million when he misses fucking half of the season isn't 13 million anymore, right? You lose the amount, you lose game checks and what have you. So, that 13 million becomes closer to 6, maybe 7, maybe 8 million, which is kind of where they, a lot of people probably would have paid for him anyway. No one was ever gonna take the risk of 13 million. But if you know that it potentially might not start, it looks like an inflated figure, and it might push him to rehab quicker and get ready quicker.
Yeah, I agree. Well, whatever. Good luck. I mean, it is what it is. I just didn't. I thought he'd be a better fit in the Bucs defense because of 3-4. He could be a hybrid and be moved around, but maybe the Saints can do something with him. Maybe not. I don't think they will, but whatever. And then Jadeveon Clowney. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a contract. Yeah.
That was actually a nice little pickup for the Panthers. I said, okay.
Yeah. What to give them, but you look at what they've lost. That's the difference. They lost Brian Burns. They've replaced him with Jadeveon Clowney. There's a big difference. And where did Clowney come from before?
Shit, he'd been all over the place.
That's what I mean. He's a proper vested veteran in the sense he's been around. I'm gonna call it.
I mean, he was with the Texans in his early years.
Yeah, I mean, that was his early years, wasn't it? They drafted him, didn't they? They drafted him. That's a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, So he's.
I think with Panthers. I think it was at the Panthers, and they had a mean defensive front, man.
They do.
You're not gonna eat like you ate in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
the same front, bro.
Yeah, but as you said, Burns. I'll take a Burns over Clowney at this point.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying is the defense front that Clowney was sat in when he was in that Ravens team was a good defensive front, which means they had to account for other people. It wasn't like it was just the Jadeveon Clowney show. It was him plus he was the tackle. They let him go. They were like, "Nah, we're okay." And he had a good year with them. I believe he got double-digit sacks for the first time. That's always been his haunt, I think, for Clowney. Is the fact he's never been a double-digit sack guy until recently. Here we go. Oh no, so he still hasn't done it. In his career, he's got himself. He got 9.5 sacks last year. The most he's ever had is 9.5 sacks 2 times in his career. He's had 9 sacks twice in his career. So he's never been the super stud. And I think that's why everyone looks at him and go, he's that vested veteran that if you ain't got a guy, but you've got one guy, but you need a complement piece to the other side.
Yeah,
he's the guy you bring in. If you had an all-elite Shaq Barrett, then you bring in a Jadeveon Clowney. But if you've only got Jadeveon Clowney, it's over because that's the job, right? You gum him up, and that's the end of the discussion.
I agree. That's it, and that's why I'm not really worried about Carolina. I was just saying to the Bucs Nation out here that don't get scared with the Kirk Cousins. We don't know what he's going to be like, and again, they have to develop chemistry. This is not a Justin Jefferson anymore. This is not someone that's going to be. He's going to have to learn.
I mean, he's not talented. I really respect Kirk Cousins and just what he's about, and his agent for getting the kind of contracts that he's been able to get.
Yes.
And he has been able to work with a lot of people. You put it down to what he's done in this league. He's good, but it's not the same as what he had. It's not
the same.
And here's the biggest thing: didn't they just went through a whole new coaching regime?
Yes, they did.
So you got a new QB, new OC, new, right?
Yeah,
that's a lot to learn. I hope we play them early.
I hope we play them early. You're right, and also you still have to worry about the Bucs with Baker. They're gonna have a better repertoire. They're gonna get ready. They're gonna get more. They're gonna have a better connection. And the defense, we already, as you know, defense is usually always developed faster. So what are you gonna do if the Bucs, if they fuck around and get a edge rusher that can be average? If Yaya can be average and the guy in the draft can be average, that means Cansey and Vita, they're going to do
I
better.
wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think they will draft a pass rusher, but I wouldn't be surprised right now that their brain stem is on Yaya, and then the other side is a rotation of O'Connor and is it O'Connor? No, the defensive.
You mean Britt?
No. JTS and there's somebody else. A guy I can't remember his friggin' name.
Not Servatier. That's the middle
No.
line.
We're talking pass rushers, edge defenders. Hang on, I'll have a look at the book roster because I've got Patrick O'Connor in my head, but I'm pretty sure he plays actual line, not edge.
Yeah, I thought O'Connor played on the line.
But there is somebody else. There's somebody I'm thinking of that is an outside backer for our team. Someone's going to pop up now before I see it. They're going to race me. They're going to race me. Oh, you mean so and so? And I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. Oh God.
And Christopher Cole, yeah, we know Chase Young didn't do anything with the 49ers. That's why it's not a big deal. I just wanted him because I knew if a coach was going to bring the
Anthony Nelson.
Nelson. Oh, yeah, he's still
Anthony Nelson. So I wouldn't be surprised right now. Their mindset is Anthony Nelson, JTS one side and other rotation, and then you have Yaya Diaby on the other. But this is where it comes in. This is where they look at their first round pick and do they upgrade it? Maybe there's somebody else there. Maybe they go and get Howard Jackson. What I can't remember that guy's full name. The center out of Oregon. And they go after him, which will really solidify the offensive front, which has been lacking. And we've all said it's not just the run game that's poor, it's the run blocking that's been poor. Mm-hmm. And as the year went on, the blocking got better, and that was mainly because Cody Mock got better.
Cody Mock did get better, and I think he will get better. But you're right. We need a nasty center like we had in Jensen. We got to have a nasty guy on the line that's going to set the tone. So yes, you're right. I wouldn't be opposed, as you said, if Light found a way, if he moved up a couple steps. Let's say if an edge rusher does fall because of the receivers, and we know the receiving draft here is going to be deep this year. So somebody out there, some early teams need receivers. They go, oh, okay, well, we might want this guy, and then we could fall back in the other round and pick up a quarterback. It's not out of the question. So what if Light can pull the trigger and move up like 7 picks and only gives up that extra third round that we lost, but we got a legit pass rusher now?
I mean,
I wouldn't mind that.
You can go and get good centers in the second round for sure.
Exactly. Yep.
I think you can get a starting center in the second round, and I think you could still mortgage that other third round pick either into a corner. And I call it buyer's delight.
Yes.
That 1 third round pick, like even if the Buccaneers move up or they don't move up, there's going to be a third round pick. That third round, one of those third round pick is what I'm calling buyer's delight.
Yep.
Calling it, and buyer's delight means is there's every fan, every person who has an opinion on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will have an opinion on how they should spend that, because it feels like a luxury pick. It's a luxury pick.
It is.
And you get to sit there and go, well, what can we do? Well, we can mortgage it and turn it into. We could. What's the best word? Best phrase? Upgrade our first round pick, or we could do the same with the second round pick, or we could go. There's people going to say running back. There's going to be people going, no, we should continue to keep hitting the line. Let's go and get another offensive guard. There's people who's going to turn around and say, no, we could go and get a running back. We could get a wide receiver. We've just lost Carlton Davis. Let's go and get a corner. It's buyer's delight. It's that one pick. I think right now, most Bucs fans would probably be in the realm of where we're thinking. If not, then they're probably crazy. It's either pass rusher first, center second, or pass rusher first, center second, or it's center first, pass rusher second, depending on what falls in the draft, what dominoes go down, what things go down. Then third round pick is the one we're all talking about, because I think that's where the Buccaneers could go anyway. And no direction is technically a bad direction unless it goes against what you think the Buccaneers need.
Exactly. Now, again, a running back. I've said in my mock draft, you can check it out, that we should get the running back from Kentucky, just because he's a good north and south runner. We want to have the most important thing I think we need to do is have someone compliment Rachaad White in the run game, because we want Rachaad White to be fresh down the line just in case, because you've already said it before, Slick. You don't win games with just the run game. And because eventually you're running back will wear down.
You want to be able to have the opinion. If you can have this ability, and this makes a fucking team, in my opinion. If you can run it and you can pass it, you are asking so much of that defense. That's why the 49ers can do so well. They have a very interesting way of running the ball. It's the same with the Ravens. The Ravens are more run heavy because of the personnel that they have.
Yep.
But they're so creative in how they run their run game that it isn't just a simplistic run game. It is a multifaceted, complex run game in comparison to what the rest of us run.
Right.
You need to be able to go to, if this isn't working, I can go to this. And if that's not working, I can go to this. And if they're not, none of them your strong suit.
Yep.
This is why Minnesota were terrible for years and years and years. They had one of the best running backs in football because they lived off him. Once he got to the playoffs, you go up against stout run defenses that you can't just have those 90-yard touchdowns or those 85-yard breakaway touchdowns. They don't exist. It's hard yards. It's pound, 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 pound. It wears your running back out. He either fizzles out like a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's amazing. I've got nothing but respect for him and how he played the game of football. However, you know that eventually, when it comes to playoff time, there are teams who know how to smack him.
Yep.
Because they're good run defending teams. And let's face it, Tannehill ain't getting shit done. Nothing against the guy. He's made his money. He's a capable quarterback, but he is not the leader of a multifaceted offensive attack, and that's what you need to win this game. If you can run the ball, that's why the Buccaneers were successful in the 2020 season. We weren't run the ball at will, but when we wanted to, we could.
Mm-hmm. And we
were a pass-first team that could run the ball if we wanted to. Yep. That's what made the Buccaneers dangerous.
You don't believe him, Bucs? You don't believe him, people out there? Look at the Bucs in the Super Bowl. When Fournette was the icing on the cake.
Like Ronald Jones throughout the season, he was close to 1,000 yards himself. Yep. Then all of a sudden he fizzled out. And then, by God, we did that. Jacksonville decided to get rid of him because they thought he was a head case. And we went, okay, well, let's go and get this sorted. And it worked out. Lenny Fournette goes and does playoff Lenny shit. Everyone else fucked around and found out.
As you said, Ronald could have fizzled out. Also, again, that's physical. He was the guy they used throughout the season, and his body, guys, running backs, their bodies start to wear down. Believe it or not, that shit takes a toll. It takes a major toll when they get those carries like that.
Every play, you're going to get blasted unless you make it to the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Play that you call any B gap, A gap, strong or weak, don't matter. You are probably going to get hit by a guy who's bigger, because running backs normally are short guys because they can slip between the linemen. So linemen usually in the 6 foot range. There are a couple of people who break the mold of that. I think Derrick Henry and a few other people do break that mold. But however, the whole point is you get lost in the wash so you can scrape out and carve your way through. But you got people like Levante David, you got people like Devin White, people like Fred Warner, guys who are well over the 235-pound mark, where your running back is not far from it, but still, it's time. It's bang, 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 and you know what they say? That middle linebacker, he's the thumper. He's the one that you can thwack.
Yes,
he's going straight in. He's going to try and drive you fucking back, and after a while, yeah, it takes a toll.
And God forbid if your lineman gets beat, and now you got a defensive end that's 270
tackles. You got to beat a player, gripping hold of you, and then just driving you into the ground,
and that can throw and destroy you. So yes, guys, again, this is why we're saying you want to be a well-balanced machine, and the Bucs can do that if they get a back that is going to complement Rachaad White, because again, Rachaad White's also a dual threat. He can catch out of the backfield. We saw it in Detroit.
Who is it you like from the running back position?
I'm looking now because I put him up here and I said, damn, I actually like this pick, because I said, wow, AJ, you did pretty good on this one. I'm about to look it up right now. The guy that I said was what the hell? His name. Finding Ray Davis.
From Kentucky, yeah.
5'8", 211.
And I know why you like that pick. Who spent some time on the Kentucky offensive staff?
Cohen, our new OC. That's why I like it, because it's the chemistry.
What you doing there, brother?
The chemistry would be strong. That's why I said that.
And I think that, as a third round pick, that's a good one.
Yes, 5'11", 5'8", 211. So he's solid. And again, it's about complimenting Rachaad White. I'm here to say, guys, Rachaad White is still going to be your starter, but we want a Ronald Jones type of guy where he can carry the load. So when the playoffs come, you want Rachaad White healthy. You don't believe me, guys? Remember what he did in Detroit. When you get him that ball in the backfield and you toss it to him, he can take a 3-yard pass to the damn to the end zone. That's what you want. Ray Davis is the guy that can be what Slick just mentioned. If we want to run it, we can. We're going to be pass first for the most part, I think, with the receiver.
When you have the passing attack that we have with, face it, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, I'm really excited to see what we're going to get out of
Trey Palmer.
And then K. Dotton, I think, is going to take another big leap. And then I think there's going to be a rotation on that. Occasionally, they're going to pull out the slot and put in 2 tight end sets, and we're going to see a little bit more of your boy.
Yes. That's my man right there. Payne Durham, y'all. I told you that's going to be.
The Payne train is coming.
Yes. And he's athletic too. He's athletic. So that's why I think Ray Davis would be really good. I'm telling you, for me, get creatively and get a double back set in the shotgun. You could have.
He can play a good fullback. I tell you what, O'Keefe, a cool fullback, is one of the things I've been dying to see, just to see what it looks like. It intrigues me because he seems like such a bully when he gets a chance. I would like to see him be that, not remotely carry the football. As in, I'm going to lead and I'm going to just make a hole for you. You just follow my ass and then deviate once you see daylight.
That's right.
I'd love to see that. And I also think if you get a power back, you can get away with doing that too.
Definitely get away
with it. The fullback is one of those things where a lot of people disrespect it, but I think it still has its place, for sure. I still think it has its place.
It has,
because it allows you to be multifaceted in your run game. Now you can play around with a few things.
Exactly. Well, also, that's the forgotten guy on the field. That's the most important thing, especially for an offensive guy. When you are don't worry about him, that's where you shine. Like you said, when O'Keefe, he got just enough good hands to where now the linebacker misses and says, shit.
That's why they use him. That's why we sit there and go, why the fuck are they throwing him? Because no one's going to cover him because they went, oh, it's the blocking tight end. We won't bother with him. The problem is if you overuse him, I think that's something you put in your back pocket for the end of the season.
Yes.
Like use it sparingly out the season just to see if he can do it. You need to see it against offense. You can't do it against your own team. But once you've built that chemistry of where he runs an out route where he looks like he's blocking or whatever, and he becomes unaccountable. He comes unaccountable. That's when you use him. Playoff time.
Mm-hmm. And
that little back pocket play.
Yep. And Chris said something interesting. Christopher Cole just said something. He said reports are that Ray Davis didn't interview well. I would need to see that and come to my own conclusions because, again, define not going well because he might not have answered a question very well. And they might say, well, that wasn't good. I'd have to see it. And besides, as long as that person wants to play football and they're willing to do things for their team, I don't give a shit about any other answers. My only thing is, do you want to play for this team? Are you going to give your all? Are you going to be disciplined? Are you going to be committed? Anything else, whatever affiliations that you have, that's none of my business.
We all know that teams ask very fucking odd questions in draft field. Like, can't remember, there was something that Gerald McCoy was asked. He was asked if he wore a cut, or he was asked if he wore like a jock strap or something like that. It's a completely irrelevant fucking question, and it stumped him. I think it was the Kansas City Chiefs that asked him the question, and it was just there's dumb questions, and sometimes that can maybe derail a person.
Yeah, like, do you know how much Mr. Krabs pays SpongeBob? Like, huh? I don't know. You tell me. Is it 10 cents? I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I don't care about that. I do. I just care about what they can bring, and I do think Ray Davis would bring something very well to this team on offense, especially
I
again.
tell you what matters. It matters how he interviewed if the Buccaneers interviewed him. Not how he interviewed for anyone else. Because that's not my front office. You could have a bunch of fucking clowns asking questions and it doesn't mean it was a fucking good interview. You take 3 shitty interviewers, that doesn't mean the interview is going to be a good interview. It means you're going to ask stupid questions that's probably going to get dumbfounded answers. And then you're going to go, wow, he didn't interview very well. And this is another thing. Let me put this. The team that's saying that he didn't interview well, don't be surprised they fucking draft him. And if they just it's fucking smoke, so everyone goes,
That's the game. That's another thing, Slick. Chris, you heard that, Christopher Cole? That is a game of chess. You got to understand, guys, these guys, when they want someone that they know that they can get and nobody really would pay attention, they can put all kind of reports out there. And sometimes reports like that are a blessing in disguise. You want to know how? That's how the Bucs got Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp was supposed to be going to the Vikings, but those crazy rumors about him and drugs, which were not true, came out. That put him down to the Bucs, and what happened? The rest is history. So sometimes, Slick, you might be onto something. Doing that.
Never be surprised at the stupid shit that front offices will go to lower someone so that they might be able to get hold of them, or stupid shit like that. It might be a team that leaks a little bit of information, unless a team actually turns around and says, "Yeah, we interviewed him, it was fucking shit." Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, what you'll find is this is leaked out to an NFL insider, and then they want to broadcast it because it's NFL news and they've got something that nobody else has, right? So it's like, I've got information that nobody else has. I'm going to share it. Sources have told me that he's not interviewed very well. Even if it's absolutely fine. And nobody knows because sources we don't know.
Right. And for all we know, that could just be
how skittish people are when it depends. The higher you are, the more skittish teams are. The moment they hear anything bad about you. I remember Landon Collins, and he wasn't wanted for murder, but like I can't remember if it was his girlfriend or his friend's girlfriend, but somebody got murdered, and they went. He was listed as somebody the police spoke to. That's all they did was they talked to him, which is normal to speak to the nearest and dearest of people in a murder case that would have probably been around at the time. But what happened? He dropped out of the draft, and I even sat there going, if I was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'd waste a fucking 7th round pick. Just fuck it. It doesn't matter. It do not fucking matter. It's a 7th round pick. And the fucking Dallas Cowboys got him, and he was an instant starter. And I was like, why did nobody just go, 7th round picks? 7th round picks might not even be on my team next year. Fuck it. It don't matter. Oh, we put a 2nd round pick. No one's going to give you GM bullshit of the year. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
I'd probably go high as a fucking 4 for someone like Landon Collins. Like, you know what? I'm going to take the risk. And you look like a fucking diva when you cash in that check.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. And you could be a genius. Well, you know what, guys? We did it anyway. The Bucs looks like geniuses when we drafted Derek Brooks.
This way, AJ, you pick up the phone. They went, "Oh, so what made you draft Landon Collins?" No one wanted to touch him. I was like, I spoke to Landon. We had a conversation, gentlemen. We got it out. I was happy with what I heard. That's all that matters. First levels, that boy. And then he'll always look at you as the team that took a fucking shot.
Yes, he will. And that also can make other organizations look bad. Well, wait a minute. You asked this question. What did you do? Well, this is so you were bullshitting. Oh yeah. Now that could stop potential free agents saying, yeah, I'm not going to that franchise. If they're willing to lie on this person, what are they going to do to my character?
I always love that the Buccaneers pay their money when they put bonuses within
incentives.
Yeah, incentives. I love it. I'm a big fan of incentives. I mean, we had a discussion about this at work in sports in general. And my friend was saying to me, and he was like, I don't like it because if I'm paying you to do a job, you're doing the job. I'm like, yes, but nothing motivates people more like the money.
Absolutely.
You turn around and look at a guy and you go, okay, I could pay you 35 million, or I could pay you 40 if you do all these things for me, and your base salary will be 30 anyway. So you won't get the 35, but I know you're capable of getting that. You talk them up and you say, well, you're obviously going to get that. But this is my safety net. If you don't pan out, I pay 30, you get good money. You do fucking put the work in like I expect you to, and you do what you're supposed to do, you get 40. And that 40 that last 10 doesn't even count against your salary cap.
Amen. And yes, I'm the same way too. Especially for edge rushers who want to get the sacks. Okay, if you can get me double-digit sacks, that's an extra $5 million. If you can, yes. Can you imagine what those people will do just to get the 10 sacks? But before the end of the season for that extra $5 million, they're gonna go, oh hell no. I'm
hungry. I'm feeling it, coach. I'm hungry.
Incentives are the reason why a lot of these guys try to go above and beyond. A lot of
AJ, I don't know what you do in your professional life or what have you, but if your boss turned around to you and said, "Here's your target, I will give you, let's say, 10% more of your salary on top, if you as a bonus, if you just do what your target is, and just as long as you beat your target, you will be incentivized to beat it."
Yes, you'll be more.
That's
motivated.
why it's called an incentive.
Exactly, and you'll be more focused, more hungry, more desire, because you know, if I get this incentive, then another incentive, a higher incentive can come. Okay, you met this one. Now this year, get us. If you get 3 sacks in the playoffs, that's an extra $5 million. Okay, and God only knows what happens. Okay, if you get us a Super Bowl, another extra $5 million. So you're talking about $15 million if I just do everything that they say. Incentives are fucking glorious.
AJ, the more I read up on this kid, Ray Davis, the more I'm falling in love with him. Orphan, didn't have a house for shit. He is a dog. This guy is gonna want to fucking run through you, especially if you're rich. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
I just think this guy's gonna have the dog in him, and maybe he might not be the most articulate enough. What do you expect if he was fucking homeless?
Yeah.
Like, if you've been homeless for a while and you've been bumming around on fucking sofa surfing, your etiquette's not going to be fucking tip fucking top.
But this is going to be good. That's what it's going to take. And a guy that's 5'8", 211, first of all, he can get low to the earth. The lower man wins. If you don't know that, football people,
the lower man wins, and you got to have leverage. You win on those two things, you are guaranteed. You got leverage and you got the length. You got the height. You got the low center of gravity. You should win every single time, unless you're a midget.
Right, and that's the whole point. That's why I like Ray. And again, like I said, the chemistry with our OC and him, that is going to play a part. I think people don't realize that plays a lot.
That is a nice dark horse pick. That's a lovely back pocket pick. I like it. I really like it.
There was one, and there was another guy that I picked from. Not in the 3rd round. I think I said Cedric Johnson from Mississippi, 6'3", 260, Chucky Mullins Courage Award, Bruce Feldman's top freaky list. He's got some motor. He's got motors, and he can chase, and he's mobile. He's got the speed. But yeah, again, I wouldn't be surprised if Light gets 2 edge rushers in this draft. I would love that, because like you said, that's where the rotation comes in. We know Yaya is a solidified starter, but rotations can also be an advantage, because now what if your veterans start to get better and they know their role? We talk about JTS. What if JTS isn't meant to be a starter, but he's meant to be a good backup?
I'm going to say something here, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying this is the thing. What if Orphe is the fucking charm?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
He had a better. Hang on, let's put up his stats, because I do believe he had a better season than a lot of us thought. I think the eyeball test was he played the same kind of style of football and adjusted it a little bit. I'm trying to remember his full actual name. Yeah,
Joe Tryon-Schenker.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see how you did, my boy. 5 sacks. Okay, nothing great. Better than the year before, where he got 4. 45 combined tackles. The year before that was 4. He's gone 4-4-4. At the moment, he is a very good rotational player.
Yes, and that's
Good,
fine.
a good rotational player for 5 sacks is pretty decent. You take it. But what if he steps it up to a 7? And the other dude steps it up to whatever. Anthony Nelson, yeah? Let's have a look at Anthony Nelson.
Mm-hmm. Anthony Nelson is another good rotation piece. You don't expect him to be like a star, but he can get things done. He'll get the job.
That's what the Buccaneers are thinking. I think if they can get the right guy, they'll go get him, right?
Yeah.
But if they can't get that person, they know they've got a rotational area where they can work with. The issue is they let Shaq go, and they were like, "Wow," because the rotation was 3 people on one side, realistically, wasn't it? It was those 3 guys we just mentioned, Yaya and the other 2, with Shaq on the other side, and occasionally I imagine they got him out. But now they're looking for somebody who can either add to that rotation or can be the star of that rotation and take control. And at this point, it doesn't. I think realistically, if you think about it, it doesn't matter if they aren't a star straight away because you've already got an emerger on one side. So if you have a 3-headed monster that can constantly rotate, occasionally relieve Yaya occasionally, so he can get his.
Yep.
Man.
Now you have depth, and you also can keep your players healthier, and that also can confuse offensive opponents because now it's shit. I gotta get my linemen prepared for a guy who can bull rush, a guy who has speed, and maybe a guy who can do a bit of both or give me fundamental. Anthony Nelson, I think, is your fundamental guy, and JCS is your speed guy. And then now you can get a power rusher, and you can get another speed guy just to overwhelm shit.
And I tell you what I would like to see if I was like a Buccaneer and a Buccaneers coach and I'm putting a few bits and pieces together. I would like to see JTS on the side with because my brain's gone absolutely.
Canty?
No, Canty. Yeah, Elijah Canty. Because then you have power and speed next to each other. That is a lethal combination when you look at it. And that's why I like it. If you go to the other side, I mean, the other side isn't solidified yet because it used to be a rotation of a few guys too. Mm-hmm. It was like the whole, it was probably Greg Gaines occasionally. Greg Gaines, I think, comes down more into the format, the 4-down line sets and relief for Vita Vea.
Yeah.
But it's been Logan Hall and it's been Will Golston predominantly. I would like to see JTS with this pure power next to him. That's going to be a fucking freaky deal, dude. Imagine if you don't have a tight end to help you.
And you never know. Bo's being as disrespectful.
And that's a beautiful thing. Like, okay, so they run a free front. So a usual free front is you have a 0 technique heads over the center.
Yeah.
You have 2-5 techniques heads over the tackles.
Mm-hmm.
What you do from there will be based on calls. But if you call this, power goes outside, speed goes inside, and then you can rotate that. Power goes outside, speed goes inside. So one goes C gap, one goes B gap, one goes A gap, one goes B gap, one goes A gap. All the fucking time, you're gonna put that fucking defensive lineman. That offensive lineman. I don't know who to fucking block because they keep fucking.
Yeah.
There's one thing that offensive linemen don't like doing is having to think. They're not very good at it.
They just want to go, bam, he's in my face.
That's my guy. I got my guy. But once you see crossing and you see, and I'm talking them scraping off his ass, literally hip to hip, scrape off each other.
Yep. And if they got to start moving their legs, because then also that's how something like, oh shit, if I move this leg too far, somebody's gonna fall on it, and I don't want to get hurt. So yes, you don't want to.
Why do you think the free front is an effective front, even though there's less linemen? There's less interior linemen. Why is it such a difficult feat for offensive linemen to deal with?
You don't know where they're going. You don't know where they're.
You don't know where they're going because you can change where they're going on a whim. Like, so you could have, we use one in as called a strength call, right? So we'll call strong slide. Strong slide means everybody will slide into the strong side of their gap. So for the sake of argument, the weak side end will slot into the B gap, the weak side B gap. The the nose will slot into the strong side A, and the strong side end will slot into the strong side C gap. And then you can reverse it. And then you can do other things, such as your ends will go interior and you got other guys will go out exterior. So there's so much. And when you can keep an offensive line guessing, that is dangerous, because they're like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yes.
They keep moving and I don't know who I'm supposed to block, because you've got to pick up somebody. At some point, you have to pick up somebody. But when you're in your passing set and the guard doesn't realize who the fuck he's blocking, that's when the interior guy gets through and you're like, fuck, I need to go and get him. But then you can't, because you've got to commit to what you're doing. So then a guy comes pouring in, and that's the beauty of it. Whereas a forefront is a little bit more simplistic.
Yeah.
It was, I'm going to bully you with the two guys in front of me and hope my other two guys go home because you're going to send other guys. Exactly. And that's what they also do with the Buccaneers with our boy Vita Vea. They have that the 4 down lineman set where they're going to go, I'm going to absorb blockers, and it's going to allow other people to eat.
And you have to, otherwise, if not, again, and those are the players that can make those moves. All right, but Slick, I got to shift it because people have been asking me about this question and they wanted us to talk about this. Now, are you aware of the rules that has changed with the tackling in football?
Been 15 years. I've aged on when I read this shit. I aged, man. Like, I'm like,
at this point,
I'm going to tell you right now, if I played, if every tackle I made in football would be put on tape and graded, and they said you can't do that anymore, I would say 90% of my tackles were taken off the board and they would have been penalties.
Oh, absolutely. At this point,
if you are tackling somebody from behind, which means you're in pursuit, your only bet is to wrap their body and pull them down. And you're now not allowed to do that. That means if someone gets in front of you, you've got to rely on somebody who's in front of them to make the tackle, because you can't make the tackle, because the moment you drop your hip or drop your body weight on them, you can't just pull it back. It doesn't work like that. You've got two guys going in this direction. You catch up with him. You can't just put your feet down and pull him back. It doesn't. Gravity and human kinetics don't work like that. What you do is you grab your body around him and you hold on for dear life and you just let go.
Yeah.
And they go down because their body weight around the lowest part of your body, your body weight wrapped around the lowest part of their body, which is either the hips or lower, is going to cause them to fall down.
Yep.
And now we're not allowed to do it.
And now we're not allowed to do it. This is why it's imperative. And I kind of am pissed off at the Troy Vincents of the world, the people who are in the players, department of it. I want to say, like, Troy, you're taking away the integrity of this game.
Is this the gentleman that turned around and moaned about how many weeks he lost because of a hip drop tackle?
Yeah.
Right. So here's my answer to him. What would you rather? Miss 3 weeks because you had a hip drop tackle, or have fucking CTE because someone drilled into your fucking head? Seriously, there's got to be a way of tackling the game. You are going to get injured in a fucking football game. I'm 100% behind protecting the brain. It does not heal properly. It's been proven time and time again. It can put people into dementia. It can do so many bad things. All right? If someone turned around to me and said, you can play football, you're going to play 10 years, Steve, and at the end of it, you're going to make $1 million, right? So I'm going to go with the bottom end. 10 years, I'm going to make more than that, obviously. So let's go down the league minimum. I'll go with like 10 million will be your earnings, right? Not what you actually spent. So you'll earn about 8 million, roughly. But you'll probably have some drop. problems with your knees in the future. And I was like, well, that'll be part of playing the fucking game. Like, that's just part of playing the fucking game.
Yes.
You can't play a physical sport where people tackle each other and not have those things. I think the NFL could do things better where they could help out players that maybe didn't earn the big bucks and they are struggling with their health or what have you because of playing in the league. I think the NFL could do something with that. I think that's genuinely a thing. And I think that's the move, in my opinion.
Yes.
But to ban out tackling a certain way, look at the tackle. Why don't we ban tackles that were? And I'm not even for or against on this. The tackle that was made on Chris Godwin, where someone just drove into his fucking knee.
Exactly.
Fucking
And
ACLs used to take people out, retire people.
Yep.
And we're not talking about it, but this guy's crying because he missed fucking 5 games. Try having a fucking ACL out, you fucking pussy.
Yep. I'll say this. You nailed it on the head. It's about the NFL now, in my opinion, it's about who is being hurt and who is getting hit, which is pissing me off. You just said it. When Chris Godwin got blown out by PJ's bitch ass, no one batted an eye. It was
for the letter of the law, he did nothing wrong. But I think it was dirty. Of course I think it's dirty. Because it was just the way it was. You go for someone's knees and you aim for the knee and you put. I understand someone going in there to try and trip a guy up. And there's incidental contact. I'm fine with that. The fact you drove your shoulder into his knee meant you wanted to fucking damage a guy.
Yep, you wanted.
That was your intent.
That was
your intent was to hurt.
Yep.
Right, and I don't like that. But it's legal, so I just accepted it and I went. It's part of the game. If one of my players did it, I wouldn't be upset. I would just go, it's part of the game. So I didn't have a problem. I had a problem with it, but I didn't make it a big deal because I was like, it's part of the game. But that's a bigger fucking problem than a hip drop tackle.
Yes, because Andrews bitched about it, and because when Mahomes got hit, that's when all of a sudden the game has got to change. And this is why, Goodell, you're losing a lot of people's respect for the game because you're going by, okay, who do we don't want to get hurt so they can sell. Football is football.
We're going to stop games so many times for people to review this shit. Guys, he made a tackle. Yeah, was it a hip drop? Fucking 5 minutes later, after fucking 2 ad breaks. And he did it. Ejected.
And another thing, Slick, they're putting defenses at higher risk of getting hurt as well because now they're going to.
Defenses are just going to sit there and watch fucking teams run into the end zone and go, well, I can't do fuck all.
I can't do shit. Yes, and also if I'm a corner and I'm only 5'10", 168 pounds, what am I going to do for tight end?
I got one for you, AJ. If you're ever a wide receiver in the NFL, all you need to do, if you're going to catch a ball, just jump a little bit. Even if you're a couple of millimeters off the floor, just jump a little bit. The reason being is the moment you jump and catch a ball and someone tackles you before you make a football move, flag, because you're a defensive wide receiver. But if you don't, and you catch it in stride and they wait, different.
And now
that's the problem where we're at, man. It's getting to a point where a hip drop tackle is pretty standard procedure.
Yes.
On any tackle that's made, if you're making a tackle from behind, you're wrapping you're wrapping your arms around their body.
Yes.
Usually lower than the waist lower, and you're dropping your weight to bring them down.
Yes.
That's what you're doing, right?
Yes.
So here's my human kinetics. How do you pursue somebody from behind and tackle them without doing that? Because once you've got your arms free, they're going forward. You're going forward. You could either drive them forward, which is completely the opposite direction of where you want them to go. You want them to go back. Right? You want to minimize the amount of gain. So are you supposed to just hold on and just wait for them to come?
Or you know what I mean? Push them from the back and hope that they fall. That's what that is. So now I got to just go, all right, let me push him and just hope that he loses his balance. And as you just said, a guy that's
technically, I suppose you got to fall at their feet and kind of trip them up.
It's just stupid shit. It's more so because Andrews got hurt and Mahomes. I don't give a shit that they're big time marquee players. That's a part of the game. It happens because at this point, Slick, me and you should just go out there and play, because if that's the case, you're basically also taking away from the competitive nature of football. Why the hell am I going to give these guys hundreds of millions of dollars if they're not even going to be able
People
to
are losing like seasons and retiring because of it. I get it. I completely get it. Concussions can retire a person. No, sorry, concussions didn't really retire people.
Yes.
Concussions kind of affected people in later life. I can understand like the ACL hits, because ACL, you get 2 ACLs, you're pretty much done in life, right? Well,
Yep.
not life, but you're done in football, right?
Mhm.
You get away with one, you probably can't get away with 2. You know, we've seen it time after time. ACL is a hard thing to come back from, but we're talking about a tackle that, as far as I know, and if someone wants to bring up the statistics and say, well, actually, Slick, these are all the hip drop tackles, and these are the injuries that have been caused in them, and this is the time that's been missed, and these are all the ones at the leg shots. And I remember a lot of people, the discussion about the Chris Godwin tackle was a lot of wide receivers said they would rather get blasted in the face with a crown of the helmet in their face than take a knee shot. Because knee shot meant you are out. You were done.
Yeah.
You don't mind. You were blasted in the face. You might not even get concussed.
No, because sometimes that guy actually might fuck around, and when he tries to hit you in the face, it might hit you in the chest or the shoulder. It's just so many different maneuvers that can happen up top than up low. If you get hit low, for the most part, you're done. You just said it. Because then what if my leg doesn't go the way it's supposed to? Now I'm fucked. Now my career's done. Your Joe thighs.
I look up at the players have been complaining about fucking how much time they're losing on fucking turf. And the NFL goes, you know what? We thought really hard about this. We should get every team to go to grass. And it'd probably cost them. I mean, a groundsman, grass seed, water, time. Let's be nice and say $200,000. Let's be nice. And then to mark the pitch and things like that. Let's go $200,000. That's what I'm going to guess it costs to run a field.
Yeah.
No, we'll ban a fucking tackle.
Exactly.
A tackle that's not even known for making lots of people miss time.
No, not at all. This is a political thing about, well, we don't want Mahomes to get hurt. We don't want Andrews to get hurt. We don't want certain people that we like. But as you
can't wrap everyone in cotton wool. They can't.
You can't. And again, it takes away the integrity of the game. These are fucking some of the most top conditioned people in the world, not just in the United States, but in the world. A guy 6'4", 260 pounds, hitting somebody 5'11", 200 pounds, it's an injury going to happen. That's a part of the game. Again, like I said, if that's the case, take away what these guys are getting paid, because now you're not having them to produce to a certain level. Shit, me and you can get in the game now. In another 10 years, what are they going to do? Play flag football? Because if that's the case, sign me up. If I'm going to get paid for this, I don't want to see Mahomes get a $400 million if you can't touch him. That takes away the game, and it also overinflates stats. Do you know who this will be?
Oh yeah, he's end up being the guy of all the guys.
Yeah, now we won't be surprised.
He can't be sacked. He's not allowed to be sacked. You remember we went through this with the whole. Hopefully, fucking normal world prevails, because there were a lot of rules on how you should tackle a quarterback if you're sacking them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it started off really rough, like as in you couldn't put weight and you couldn't do that. And it seems to have calmed down, and it's got to a standard where it's bearable. Like occasionally you'll get the one refereeing crew that's a bit too hard on it, but predominantly it hasn't been as bad. Like I've seen plenty of weight drop tackles where players use their weight and drop their weight onto them multiple times, and it's not got called. So I'm hoping common sense prevails, or applied sense prevails, and they just let players play.
Let players play, because this is why, though, we compare errors. People can say what they want, Slick, but sometimes other errors were harder than them, and then what you have, and it's not just because of the skill, but being physical is more mental than physical. Did you hear what I just said, Slick?
You
Being
can't. I'll
physical
tell you
is
one thing.
more. Yeah.
You can't. You can't. And I'll say this: you can't coach someone to be physical.
You
Can't.
cannot. You can't.
I can take right. So let's let me. Okay, we're playing the Britain. My team is playing the British Army in 2 days' time.
Nice.
They will be the most physical test that we will ever face. The sport in my country is semi-pro, right? So there's nothing more physical than a bunch of army guys who are conditioned. They're not conditioned athletes, but they are conditioned to fight, which means pain isn't really a problem for them. It means fighting through pain isn't really a problem for them. But telling someone to go and knock a person's block off isn't really a problem for them when you're fighting the fucking.
Gotcha. Slick, I think you went in and out. We can't hear you anymore, Slick. Yep, we can't hear you, buddy. No, sir. You might have to log in and log back out. Try that. But like my man Slick said, Slick said it. You can't teach physical, but again, this is what pisses me off about the game of football. I want to see if I want to see these guys. This is why I compare errors, because again, being physical is mental. Because I don't know if Mahomes would be able to do the shit he would do in the 80s or the 90s, early 2000s, being able to make those kind of moves, because he would get knocked on his ass. And when you get knocked on your ass a lot and you get knocked around silly, that takes away the game of you trying to look good and be pretty. You trying to survive. But that also means you got to still learn how to get that playoff. That's why I respect a lot of the quarterbacks from the old days. You can say what you want. We know Brett Favre as a person, like the shit that he's done. Yeah, we get that. Fuck him. But overall, as a quarterback, him, John Elway, Troy, and them were some tough ass dudes. They were taking hits. That's why when people say, "Oh, Troy wasn't this," you out of your damn mind. Troy played in the era where quarterbacks were getting fucked up. Your quarterbacks, a lot of these quarterbacks in today, well, they're fast, maybe, but when they get hit, you can have all the speed in the world, but if you get hit right, you ain't gonna want to run like that anymore. So that's why I say spare me with the BS about errors that you can't compare. Yes, you can, because if the error, you just gotta go by what error was the toughest. Let me see.
Yeah.
Much better. Yes. Welcome back.
I think that was just a login thing.
Okay. But
Good.
I heard what I heard what you were saying though about the Army guys and being physical, knocking your block off. You can't teach being physical. You are absolutely right. That's why, Slick, I'm so hard on people about fucking errors. I just did another research. Aaron Donald is in the top 20 defensive players. There's too many other guys better. Charles Haley was better than this guy. There's so many people, but again,
let's put it this way. Let's not. And I think I love the fact that you're old school. I love that about you. And I think me being a new school guy, and I mean by new school, I mean as in I got into football a little bit younger, but I still I pay my dues, right? I pay my dues on the past. I would say this, rather than just ranking a guy and say, all time, this guy is this. You can do that with Tom Brady, right? You can turn around with Tom Brady, had a lot of rules that came in that allowed him to play a certain way, certain certain he didn't his wide receivers were allowed to get open to a degree in comparison to a Joe Montana's or whoever or what have you. So let's just do eras, because I think eras is the easiest way to do it. You can be the greatest generation of your eras. It should be the same in basketball. Like, you shouldn't be comparing MJ to fucking Kobe Bryant. Wow, they were kind of in the same ballpark of each other. But
yeah.
you shouldn't be comparing eras, because it's just ridiculous, because it's a different game. So you can't turn around and go, well, this person would have done. It's like when people turn around, well, in today's basketball, MJ wouldn't have got as many points because of la 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 la. And it's like, well, you don't know because you ain't seen it. B, you're probably wrong because he had to go against people like Shaq. You know, but my favorite is when people turn around and go, "Oh yeah, he couldn't beat LeBron James. Why? Because LeBron James is this big and this size and la 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 la." You do realize there were people that size too.
Yeah, people don't realize Clyde Drexler was like LeBron's before LeBron. Again, this is where homework. This is why I pay homage to the to the glory days, because they're the people that we look at today. It's like, if it wasn't for these guys, they influenced them. Like Michael Vick influenced your Lamar Jacksons. Michael Vick influenced Kyle Murray's and all these people. Most of your running quarterbacks, if we can go further, you got Randall Cunningham's of the world. Your wide receiver. You have to understand these guys. Those are the guys that were ahead of their time. But to wrap this whole thing up, when it comes to this, again, I just want football to be football, not just a fucking entertainment WE business where I see offenses. One thing I want Goodell to understand: when you see teams putting up 40 to 50 points a game, that's not always cool. That's not always exciting, because now we just see bullshit. He doesn't realize some of the best football that we've ever watched, in my personal opinion, Slick, was from like 2003 to 2013. Them Steeler Ravens games, when them shits was like 9-6, that was good football, because it showed it was competitive. Every game ain't meant to be in there for. That's why the greatest show.
I would say the best game you want to see is you want to see a little bit of a shootout, but not to the point of where it's tit for tat, like it's going this way, right? What you want to see is you want to see a team. They'll fizzle out the first drive. The second drive they get a field goal. The next team comes on, they'll get a field goal, or they'll get a score, and then the other team gets a score, and then by the time you've got a 19-21 game or something like that. That for me is the epitome, because you want to see scores because it's exciting. It always is. You can't take it out of the game. But you need to have a point where you don't want teams scoring at will, because it's kind of like, what's the fucking point of defense? You may as well just not.
That's my point. If I see every game, it's 40, 44, 42 to 35, then I'm just going to go, okay.
One of the arts of playing football, in my opinion, is controlling the clock. What if a team knew it's that easy to get scored on, and they just go, guys, we need to get the ball back, so let's not fucking bother. We are literally, they got 2 minutes. If we just let a score in, we get the ball back with probably about a minute and 3 quarters. We get the ball back, so we could score. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a good idea. Let's just park like the Red fucking Sea and let them fucking score. And they'll be like, oh shit. And then once fans see that, that's when people go, I'm checking out. I'm checking out because they're not even playing defense, because they know it's detrimental to playing offense. Because they'll be going, I'd rather get the ball back quicker than try and stop them.
And that's why the old days were so special, because that's why running the ball was good, because you're chewing clock. So you're not even giving a team that's known to be a passing offense time to gel. It's in a way, it's like in rush mode. Like,
can you imagine, AJ? Can you imagine if like teams start to do that? Like, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I really hope it doesn't. Teams start to go, we're going to part like the Red Sea and just let teams in. That's when the offenses have to go, they're letting us fucking score, boss. We've got to go down to ground. So they start falling over on purpose when someone's touched them. They run into a lineman and fall over, right? And then you get a really convoluted level of sport, because everyone's like, they're not even fucking playing offense, because they're not even trying to score, because they're trying to milk the clock, which you just end up with this really muddy down level of football. Which
it'll be the Pro Bowl. That's all it'll be. Pro Bowl. It will be the modern Pro Bowl today would be the typical football game. And once that happens, that's when people will, like you said, oh, hell nah. This is what we're paying for? No, thank you, Goodell. This is why sometimes Goodell, he pisses me off, because he thinks we're stupid. I would love to be like, Goodell, I know what you're doing, man. You're doing this so your Mahomes boys, your Herberts, so your high-flying offensive people can sell tickets. Fuck that. We want to see a football game, because
it's not what I just said just happens, or Like
Yeah.
people will check out if the standard of football is going to be bad, and you just got to remember there's 2 spring leagues that are looking at everything the NFL does and go, I didn't like that. Let's not put it in our football. Let's put the fans really like it, don't really like special teams. Why? Let's fucking abolish it. Let's just get fucking rid of it. Just have punt. That's all. That's the only special teams play is punt, kick, punt and kick, punt return, and field goals.
Yep.
That's it. And that's the only 2 we're going to have. And you take those little things, and eventually your sport becomes more elevated because it's a standard that people wants to watch. You may not have the athletes because you're not paying them, but eventually when the sponsors and the eyes are looking at something else, the sponsors go over there. Everything goes over there. The eyes are over there because that's where I'm looking at this because this looks better.
This looks better. And now the league is losing money, revenue. And now it might influence them to say, you know what, let's just go back to what we were doing.
How worse does it look if you go back though? Like you look like you went, yeah, we got it wrong. We're fucking stupid.
Hey, at that point though, you might.
We'll be happy, but how foolish! And you got to get out.
Oh, yeah.
Get back.
And they'll say, oh, we're gonna try to change the game because I remember Shannon said it, and I was just like, Shannon, absolutely not. No, I need a statistical report that shows that me pulling down on somebody is hurting them because and in a way that's ridiculous. It's a
fucking game of fucking football. But do you think running over a guy, dropping your shoulders, fucking doesn't hurt? How many guys have had broken ribs? How many guys have had broken this? How many guys have had fucking what? It's a fucking contact football game. If you can show me that it's a career ender, by all means, I'm bought in.
Right.
Now, I know that the fucking concussion thing isn't a career ender because at the end of the day, you can fake getting out of concussions. But concussions affect you in later life. We found this. It's true. It's a fact. I think some of the stuff that they're doing to eliminate that, I'm absolutely fine with. I'm absolutely fine with it. But if you can show me that the hip drop tackle is ending careers early in general,
right,
versus other things that you could do, then I have a fucking problem with that.
Right, and they can't. Again, we know why, and this is again if it finds out that way because we're gonna see it. We're gonna see who gets these calls because I guarantee you, if more of your big stars on other teams are getting these calls, and your regular guys who you don't really know are not getting the same treatment. That's when people are going to say, oh, okay, you did this because you want your golden boys or your golden players to keep this game moving because we've seen it. We've seen it before these plays where certain quarterbacks will get hit or they'll get a penalty, just like when dumbass picked off Baker and he threw the ball at him. If Carlton Davis does that to Jared Goff, that's a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. This is where the game can get dangerous when it's biased because now all of a sudden, well, this guy did it, so we gotta give them penalties. Mark my words, like it's gonna happen, and controversy is gonna happen. And you know what football players and coaches are gonna do? Fuck it. They're just gonna go. They're gonna speak their mind. They're gonna go. You know what? This is bullshit. This is dog shit. And again, if these guys are getting paid millions of dollars.
The only thing that will change it, AJ, is if Joe Public turns around and goes, "I'll fucking watch something else. I'll watch golf. I'll watch rugby. I'll watch insert fucking sport here." That's the only way the NFL will change it. Because players moaning about it means nothing. It really does. It really does. And I honestly surprised that this was voted on unanimously. Was it unanimously?
I think, I'm not sure, but I know the owners. I just look at it this way, like you said.
I think the owners voted on it unanimously.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. As you said, it might dip if they see too many plays like later on in the season, and certain teams are winning because of this shit. You might be right. The Joe Public might say, "You know what? Fuck it. This Sunday, I'm not doing it." The Chiefs just lost $13 million in one day. That's what get their attention. Like, ooh, 13 million. That wasn't. We didn't lost some M's. So we'll see, and we will. Hopefully they get their shit together. But on that note, my man, I'm going to have to run because I got to get up super early. But again, guys, this is Coach Slick right here. You need to go to It's About Bucking Time. Check out his resume. Give Coach Slick an opportunity because despite that, this year we want to continue for Coach Slick to get a job with the Buccaneers. So check out his accolades and go check that out. And again, you can always find me on my own. It's About Bucking Time. Go to AJ Turnup and get some nice merch, right here. And as always, go Bucs. And Slick, I'll holler at you later, my man.
I'll catch you soon, brother. Look after yourself, okay?
You too.
Okay, guys, that's pretty much the end of the show. Just a little bit about me, if anyone cares. My team play against the British Army, which will be probably the most physical test that we face this year. Preseason so far, we've won 2 preseason games in blowouts where we've scored 40 points plus. We don't expect this game to be like that. We're in a very, very tough division, probably the toughest in the league this year. But it is what it is, and you got to love your challenges because if you get out of that, then everything's singing for you. For me, I'm excited. My scout's gone through, done everything. All my bells and whistles are ready to rock and roll. Unfortunately, I won't be calling the game this time. It will actually be the defensive coordinator, who is a former member of the British Army. So this is like his own personal Super Bowl. So that's kind of cool. But just to chop it up with him and the rest of the boys, can't wait. Hopefully, we come away with a victory. If we don't, all I want to know is my team hung in physically. Because if we can hang in physically with a team like the British Army, then wow, it could set us up really well for the season. So without further ado, guys, Buccaneers, hopefully we can find that pass rusher, get that center, and solidify that offensive, solidify the offense just a little bit more so that we can run the football a little bit more effectively. Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!